Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Stat Me Up for Anfield Index. It's the day after the Villa draw, and like us, you might think it's 2 points dropped, 5 points ahead. If Arsenal win their game in hand, it currently stands at 8. We'll have to see, but it's a tale of missed chances and period. We need someone with analysis, so I Googled it. I asked Google if I want Chris Hoy via Mauritius on wish.com, and I arrive at Dr. Phil Barts. Barts, how are the legs for those that don't know about your cycling adventures?
Oh, mate, they're a bit dead. Yeah, for those who, I put it in Discord, but we did a 24-hour cyclothon for charity across all of our campuses, and I rode from 11:30 till 2-ish, 2:30 in the morning. I did about 100k. So yeah, it was tough. My legs were a bit knackered today, and lack of sleep and all that jazz. But it was worth it. We raised about 175,000 rupees and did just short of 3,000k. So decent.
Too right, yeah. What a good news story. And in simple terms, if you want analysis of that, the EPV on Bart's legs are fucked. So there you go. So we'll get into stats, ladies and gents. So, Bart's, let's start where we always start. Let's talk for the last night. And I always give you my eye test and we see if the stats bear out. And 99% of the time, we're usually there. And I normally talk about first half and second to you, but I'm going to break this up into three and you're going to tell me if this is right and the stats bear it out. There's a period, call it the first third. We are battering Villa. We are looking on top. We are looking good. Everything is cruise control almost. And then Jota squares it to Salah. And you're thinking, here we go, boys. This could be like 10. And you're dreaming 10 points clear. Then, I don't know whether the legs just die. We just seem to stop playing. And let's be honest, 2 goals are given away quite in quick succession. You're thinking, what is going on? How are we going in? 2-1 down. It then flips a bit. It's a bit of a bitty game, so I'm putting it in that second third as well. And then towards the end, maybe from 60th minute onwards, again, it feels like we take control. And you leave that game going, how the hell have we not scored a goal and like screaming all sorts of things? So that's how I'm breaking it down to you in those 3 periods. We'll have a look at the stats as normal. Does it bear that out?
I think that's not bad. That's not a bad place to start, actually. The only thing I'll say on the lineup, I don't normally do this, but he picked 4 midfielders. All right, there's no getting around that. He picked all of his midfielders rather than other members to play in the left wing. So that's just a note that people need to be aware of thinking going forward, because that will have a knock-on effect of the future games because you burnt minutes there for key players. Top level stats, let's have a look. So, and this can be useful, can be not, right? And then we'll do the periods, as you said. So overall, it's about a 50-50 possession game. Yeah, we're not going to argue over a couple of percent either way. Penalty box touches. This is where it starts to get interesting. 46-26. So we got better than that. Field tilt, yes, a little bit less than that because of the basketball nature of certain periods. You end up tot up. And they had a large period in our final third, and then we had a period we did get in there. So that's why that's almost level. Shots, okay. Everton, we got outshot at the weekend. We didn't have a shot second half. We still outshot them here, 17-9 at their place. We outshot them massively.
Oh dear.
On target though, 3 apiece. All right, okay. Penalty box shots, 14-5. That's a huge difference. That's not even the same game. That's us 3 times the amount of shots in their penalty box we took. Big chances, 3-2. Okay, 2 goals each we know. And this is another key indicator. We only let them have 0.73 XG, and we created nearly 2.5. That's an amazing away performance, right? Those who've got a FOP mob, if you ignore the scoreline, look at the stats panel, you look at that and you go, flipping it. That's a hell of a performance. You know what I mean? Because the shot maps, everything is looking really rosy. Threat, again, another thing we always talk about. If ours is over 100, that's good. 132.
Yeah.
If theirs is less than 100, that's good. Theirs is 58. So we've done a lot of the stuff right, yeah. Metrics, however you want to call that, underlying numbers, probably just a bit tight today. Long ball rate, they were at 8.7, 13 for us. It's a little bit higher, but that can be to do with the second half change. Now, we do your periods. So the first two periods that you said, the first half an hour, I would say we were really good. We were on it. You know, no XG from them, no XG from them. A combined XG there about 0.7, which is what they get for the whole game. We created in that first half an hour. Our threat creeping up from 40 in the first 15 minutes to 100, 120 in the second, in that sort of 50 to 30. We're on it. We have got touches, more touches than them. We have got penalty box shots 6, they're 0. We've got total shots of 7 to their 0. We are, as you quite rightly said at the start, we are really going through the gears here. We are like, yeah, okay, 16 penalty box touches to their 5. This is a real period of dominance for us. And we get the goal. And we get a great break, boom. And I think I was sat on the bike this time, but I was literally like, right, yeah, this is us here. Let's cruise for the next 5, 10, and then we'll go again. Typical kind of thing. But then, as you said, from 31, probably through at least till half time, they get control of possession. They flip the field tilt around 70-30. They equal our shots. They put more on target than off target. They then start turning. So we still have a high threat conversion, but in terms of XG, they're starting to build now. They're at 0.5, right? Annoyingly, they get 2 big chances and score 2 goals from half an XG. That's insane. That's like the first one is a third phase set piece. Kind of one of them, crap happens. That just happens, right? It's a moving. We could have dealt with it. 7 opportunities, better bouncing ball. Second one is handball. Is handball. I don't even know why it didn't go for 7. There's no way that didn't impact the resulting move, right? It gave them an advantage. So it's handball. It should have been ruled out. But anyway, and they have another one ruled out as well for a close offside, I think it was. Was it Rashford? It was offside as well in this period.
Yeah,
so they had just, which was, I think BBD's heel was just coming up. So this is a really strong period for them. Then after half time, like Slot does his usual. We then split the field tilt. We're 60-40 at this point. We're 60-40 for the first half hour after half time. We get our goal. And quite rightly, you said, we are literally there. We're 184 threat conversion. We are going through the gears, trying to find that second, trying to find the winner. Unfortunately, we have to make the subs here. This is the period we have to make the subs. And after that point, 75 through to, what do we pay? Another 6 minutes of injury time. So the last 25 minutes of the game, we don't convert any of our threat to XG. They create, no one really creates a lot of XG, but they outshoot us. They have more possession. They have higher field tilt. At one point, they were at 90% field tilt, which was that period at the end where Ali basically saved us with about 3 or 4 one-on-ones. So, I think there's various stories in there. Even at 2-1 just before half time, Jota misses a massive chance to make it 2 or half time. Huge chance. And normally Jota would just put it away. Then the period we're on top, and I think we could have had 2-3 other chances. I think Jota has a half chance, Mo does. Trent scored a lovely goal, lovely little build-up. And then we have a kind of headers that we should have scored from. We had a myriad of chances that we really should have put away. Then Trent has to go off because he's only coming back from injury. Jota has to go off for the same reason. And unfortunately, whereas previous game we might have done, the subs came on and helped us see the game out. This time round, the subs couldn't quite, from looking at it, couldn't quite get it going. And it's a concern. I mean, people are normally I would try and find a way to find a happy medium with Nunes, but the boy misses. He has 3 opportunities to create goal scoring action. One of them misses an open goal. One of them he should have taken a touch before the keeper got there, so that he either gets taken out or he plays in Dom, who's square. And then the third one, he's played in and he dilly-days on the edge of the box and ends up playing a stupid pass. So, and then he doesn't work hard off the ball. So this was a downer for him in terms of coming up and being that replacement. So, and then Bradley gets injured. So the 2 subs you have to bring on, we have to make a change again. So yeah, you're right. It was 3 periods. I think that last little, I'm not quite sure hanging on is the right term, because I didn't feel like we were. I mean, we only had 3 shots in that. I'm just, when you kind of, the commentators always play out, but oh, that was close, and the rest of it. And actually, the shots were nowhere near. They were always going wide. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for that. But the probabilities of Monte Carlos, people sometimes like to see, sometimes not. Should have won a game 2-0. Got into the probabilities, which is about right with the amount of XG produced. Next one down is 2-1.
Yeah.
So, sorry, actually 3-0 is probably the next one. It's 2-1. We should have won it 80% of the time. We win that game. And I have to be honest with you, if you look at the quality of chances and where we are, I don't think that doesn't pass the eye test. If you know, I think there was those periods we were on top. We should have absolutely put them to bed. I tweeted out on Blue Sky, those who follow me, a big change between the 2 halves in the past maps. Here is a problem. We played well, but it's a problem. So we went, considering we're playing 4 midfielders, right? There's no midfielders in the actual centre area, which is interesting, right? And Gravy's over here with a really light amount of threat and no connections going forwards. Mackie's obviously heavily involved, and so is Dom, right? So they're trying to do their bits, and Curtis is almost the furthest forward player because he was kind of playing the left wing as well as dropping it. So, that's the first half. Second half is a bit more disciplined. We have box shape in midfield, but the forwards aren't quite linking as much as we should do. So the process was okay, but then it wasn't off the ball. So I've been critical in recent weeks where our off the ball, win it and give it to somebody, wasn't really there. Here it was a lot better in the first half. We were literally winning it and then trying to play it into the channel, into the pockets, into the half spaces of zone 14. Unfortunately, second half we got a bit random in the second half. It's a bit mad what we've done in the second half. So it's to answer. I think 3 periods is right. I think we have to. Villa are a good side. I know there was a bit of preamble that they're injury ridden. They might do this, they might do that, but they are still a good side. They still had pace. I think Emery probably made a mistake in not playing Ramsey from the start. He shifted players around that position, which I don't think helped them because it allowed us a bit of dominance in areas they wouldn't normally give up. But I keep going back to this. This is their shot map, right? This is them at home, right? That's not a picture of a side that's drawn with us. That is a picture of a side that's absolutely killed them and just not got the point. So to have that many shots centre in the penalty box and not get a win, I think you'd be hard pressed to find another performance like that, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, we have had a few more in this run, but so I think overall, I think we did deserve to win it. I think there are some underlying tones coming through now that we can be aware of in terms of players off the ball, should we say. The dual rates are down, being kind. Curtis is playing slightly further forward, so it's a little bit unfair to call him. But when your 6 is clocking in a dual rate at 17% win rate, that's a bit of a concern for me, if I'm being honest with you. Other concerns, Virgil's aerial rate was down at 60. Canate 50. So that's just things that are normally our bread and butter. We we're just not quite in that area of the ball, which allowed them to score 2 goals from nothing really, or not nothing to be off. But yeah, they had 2 opportunities to really score, whereas normally we would have defended that well. Yeah, I think that's it's annoyingly one of those. I would always try and be positive and say, yeah, okay, we're 8 points clear. I don't think Arsenal can go on the run. I think need to win something like 12 out of 13. If we win all our home games and pick up 5 points away from home, that would give us some like high 80s, and that would mean Arsenal would have to win 12 out of 13. I don't personally think Arsenal can do that, touch wood, but so I'm still trying to remain positive. But we really need to find a way of getting back to the intensity that we had off the ball pre 2024 really, because 2025 our draw rates has dropped a bit. On the ball, we're absolutely fine. The numbers we're producing, we're knocking out the shots, the quality, and the rest of it. It's just off the ball. We're not quite at the elite level that we were. Our process is still okay. Our pressing is still good. It's just that when we're in a position to win that possession, we're not winning it. We're losing it now more often than not. Whereas in 2024 we were winning it. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot to like on the high level stats, but like you said, it's hard to get away from those 2 elements of missed chances, which should really be goals. There's no 2 ways of putting it. And that joy is a concern. And it may tie into a question that Sadie's asked you there. So it says defensive variance should swim back in our favour at some point. No, limiting a top 8 Champions League side to 3 awful defensively. But if you're losing the duel battle, you're giving them sort of field possession, you're giving soft chances up, aren't you, Barts, at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Generally on the top line, limiting to 3 isn't bad, but if 2 of those 3 are big chances, that is bad. Like, you generally shouldn't be giving away more than 1 big chance a game against anybody. So for us to give up 2 in this game and in the same period is just, that's not great. Variance could swing back, but this isn't a one-off. If you've looked at the shows we've done, we've noted about the duel rate has been dropping for certain players in 2025. So it's becoming a bit of a trend. UP will probably do a bit on that on Monday night for those who want to tune into today, because we've done a bit of a deep dive on the data, but it does look like a bit of a trend at the moment for this year that we need to change, because otherwise it's only 12 games to go, but that is also quite a long way to go. So we need to change things up a little bit.
Yeah. It's a long way to go if it keeps declining like it is as well. So there we go. The eye test, some things to just have a slight concern or question mark over. But let's try and bring a positive. I know you said you look for the positive, Bart. There was only 1 man of the match. We've almost become immune to an Egyptian demigod getting a goal and assist practically every game. And almost, there's others who are doing their part, don't get me wrong, but it does feel a little bit like there's 1 man carrying his team on his shoulders at the moment. So I am pretty sure Mo Salah's stat profile here is pretty special as normal.
Yeah, he's smashed it in terms of shots. He's a possession is lower for him. That's not always down for him. Passes is good. Duel rate is higher than several others, but that's just not what that's not always in that area. He's not in the team for that. On ball time and threat creation are still good. If we look at comparison with everybody else, the only other player that comes near to it is probably Virgil on ball, although off ball, Virgil didn't have a great game.
Yeah.
And Robbo was okay on the ball. And Mac, again, I thought was another astute performance in midfield, really. A bit like the Wolves game, I thought Mac was really, really intelligent at the weekend. So, but yeah, Mo for me, another monster performance. It's how many more games do we need him to keep doing it? You know what I mean? Because I think we spoke about Mo having a Zen-like presence of when we need it to do it, and he is getting us into positions to win games, but we just need the back four to actually do their job as well with the 6. But no, an amazing performance. I profiled Rashford for his little bit for them, just to see if people might want to know how he's getting on. It was probably one of Villa's better performances, smashed about three of the 7 metrics. The only Watkins was quiet on the night, won his aerials, but little else. And a couple of subs when they came on did really well. Malin, the other lad I've got here, Tilliman's in midfield did well as well. So yeah, a couple of players for them did okay, but and us generally, I think the spine of the side did all right. I haven't got it. Goalkeeper stats are not in here, but Ali's another one that he's sort of varying between saving everything that comes at him and then not. So I think it's just something to keep an eye on as well. So, but yeah, no, Mo, yet again, goal and assist. Unlucky, probably not to have another goal or another assist at least. Yeah, a great performance from him. Okay, away from home.
God, we need him for another 12 games. Let's hope his trend continues and then we'll see what it leads to. So there you go, people. That was the Villa game, funny analysed for you. And the next game, Bart, I mean, we almost say it every week. They're massive. It doesn't really feel like it comes any bigger than this one. I mean, it's strange to say we're playing 4th place away from home, but that is where Manchester City find themselves. Shouldn't ignore they've still won a lot of games. We shouldn't ignore that they've scored the 2nd most goals in the Premier League as well, just to be clear on that. The form table maybe isn't as bad as people think. There's a couple of hammer-ins of Ipswich in there. They beat Chelsea at home. Yes, Arsenal absolutely pumped them at the Emirates, but they also battered Newcastle at home. So this doesn't feel like the absolute give me it maybe did a good few weeks ago, which would have probably been better playing them at the time. We know who their threats are. If you don't know who Haaland is and people like that, I can't really help you. All we know is there's a chance he could be out, but there is goals in this team. What I think it's important to say, though, Barts, is there's not really legs in this team. They give up chances. The defence have been rotated. Do the stats give us real hope as well as what we're seeing recently?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be... we've all been here far too long to know to complete... I'm not saying City get them with the league, but they're not suddenly become a horrible, like a rubbish side. They are still a very good side and they're capable of doing things. So that's just something to know. We always look at what shots they are producing and what not. That has dropped off a bit in the last 2, but they're still averaging around, let's say, 15 shots a game, which is pretty decent. Later on, it's a bit of a cut out there, but most of the others, they're in and around those. In terms of XG, they are, apart from Ori, which I recognise, it's about 1.5 XG a game. Even last night, where they got battered by Madrid, they still created 1.5 XG. So, that's not, you got to it's really important that people don't get carried away by thinking, oh, these are there for the taking. They might well be, but they still have players that in a moment can take the game away from you. So that's important to know. In terms of shots that they concede, so, last night they conceded, that's the first game against Madrid, sorry. They conceded 20 shots to Madrid. And I know that's Madrid, but that's still an incredibly high amount of shots to concede in the top level.
Yeah.
But they're averaging over 10 a game conceding, which is unlike them. They would normally be down in single figures to concede the shots. Shots on target, again, is creeping up around the 5-ish, which they just wouldn't be doing normally in a vintage year, should we say. And they're conceding probably around the 1.5. So they're about par with the XG. There's some games here where they consider a lot of XG. Paris, for example. So against some of the elite oppositions that we say, and I am going to put Paris in that, and Madrid, they've conceded a lot of XG. The Newcastle one was a funny game, wasn't it? Because they battered Newcastle, only conceded 0.5 XG, created more. So that is an interesting note, and that just gives you an indication of what they can still do to a side. Arsenal changed the way they play against them, so they still created 1 XG against Arsenal though. But Arsenal typically would sit in with a bit of a block and play a bit on the counter. They wouldn't try and play through you. They try and do set pieces.
Yeah.
But Arsenal against City went at them because they have no legs in midfield. Well, they're not no legs. They can't get around. They can't cover the ground as much, so you can run through them. And they got the result they needed to. Newcastle tried the high press, which is what they do, and then try and be strong defensively. But again, coming back to the point, the City players haven't got worse. They can't necessarily do the whole system thing. If you try and high press the City side, you have to be really good at it because they are really press resistant. Every single one of their players is very comfortable at playing a little triangle, getting themselves out of trouble, and then they're down there in the scoring, which is kind of what happened against Newcastle. Yeah, they got lucky, they got an early goal, fine, but they still built on that as we went forward. So yeah, I think there's some things to be wary of and things to be not. If we go back to our old favourite, which is understand. The City here are so actually the created they should have scored 50 goals. They've scored 52, so they're 2 over. In terms of conceding, they should have conceded 38, and they've conceded 35, so they're a little bit hot, but they're kind of in the right range. In terms of points, what have they actually got? 44 points. I can't quite believe I'm saying City have got 44 points with only 12 games to go, but anyway. And they should have got probably a couple of points less. So they are kind of where they should be in terms of understand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that. They are basically the 4th best side in the Premier League at the moment. So they're not rubbish.
Yeah.
They haven't suddenly become, they're not down here with Leicester and Southampton as maybe some of the rhetoric has been earlier on. They have rectified a few problems. The midfielder that they brought in, I can't remember his name, played pretty well in the last time out in the Premier League. They've also got
Gonzalez,
Yeah, Gonzalez played well, and the lad they've just brought to play up front, Mamouche, is it Mamouche?
Mamouche, yeah.
Yeah. Again, he's a dangerous player. So even if they haven't got Haaland to play with, they have other options. They have pace and attack. So there are dangers to be aware of. It is, for me, it's going to come down to, can we get our intensity back? Can we do what we did to them at Anfield and blitz them for the first 40? Because if we can do that, there's a very good chance we can put the game outside. If with Bradley being injured, that's a massive warning problem because it means we've only got a right back for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do for the last 30? You can only play Jota for 6. So it's going to be, can we win the game in 50 minutes? That's the conundrum you've got on Sunday. And then can you bulk the side out enough to stay it out? Because you're going to need Jota and Trent for the midweek against Newcastle. You cannot afford to blow their minutes in City because it's no good. Now we're in the position we're in. It's not a bad position, but we kind of need 2 wins. You can't get a win against City and then get beat home against Newcastle. We just can't do that. So we need to have, we will need to manage the minutes of those two. Everybody else is everybody else. He's not going to change Robertson, although I would have played Costas, but yeah, just rotation because Robbo's played 4 and a 5 on a bounce. He's not going to change that. Midfield would be interesting. I think Diaz could return against City. The reason he was not played against Villa was A, he was really high in terms of his minutes, and B, I think they're probably worried about Cody, so there was no rotation. So therefore, Diaz will probably play against City, which is fine. Therefore, you've got 3 out of 4 to play in midfield. And I can't remember who came off. Was it Matt came off? Matt, maybe. So they might. You could see, if you're brave of him, you could see him go for Mac as a 6, Jones and Dom. Could do. But we shall see. It'll be a tough game. It's not going to be easy. And we're going to have to win it in 55, under the hour mark.
There we go, ladies and gents. A limited time, right back concerns, draws, giving up soft chances. What a way to make you feel positive on a Thursday afternoon, eh? But we should be. We are going well. there is just a few concerns and considerations. So there we are, ladies and gents. As ever, we'll be back very shortly with transfer market metrics for you for episode 13, which hopefully some names are not unlucky when we talk about them. But for another Stat Me Up, all it leaves to say is, Bart, for the time, the insight, for the stats, the analysis, and for answering all questions, it is much appreciated, pal.
No worries, anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was another Stat Me Up.